Good evening, Brockton residents. This is Mayor Robert Sullivan, and it's Thursday, May 14th, and it's my honor and privilege, much like the last 3 weeks, to have my fellow elected officials on the local level. I'm joined by two wonderful ward councilors in the City Council. We have Ward 3 Councilor Dennis Ianieri, the Dean of the City Council. Dennis, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, for inviting me. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate your time. And again, we have attorney, Ward 4 City Council, Councilor Susan Nicastro. Susan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're wonderful to take the time to be with us. Actually, you're so busy.
No, and again, as I said on January 6th, when we all took that oath, it's about working together. I mean, we're all duly elected city council, mayor, and school committee. So it's about just a better Brockton. So as I did last week with the Ward 1 and Ward 2 councilors, and the previous weeks with the councilors at large and council president and the other city councilors, most difficult part of my job right now is at 4 o'clock when I get the updated numbers of COVID and how it's still rapidly creating havoc here in the city of Brockton with loss of life. Current deaths, current loss of life is 211 Brockton residents have passed, 211. Our thoughts and prayers go to the departed, of course, and their surviving loved ones. The COVID coronavirus currently is impacting 2,329 Brocktonians. 2329 folks are dealing with positive active cases. And total cases since the state started counting is 3,531 Brockton residents have either dealt with this or unfortunately passed due to this nasty, deadly virus. Couple things that I've done this week that I just wanted to share is that I brought on a pandemic medical consultant, Dr. Richard Herman, Dr. Rick as we call him, former ER chief in both local hospitals. Dr. Rick was at Brockton Hospital for many, many years in the ER, and then he transitioned and went and was in charge of the ER at Good Samaritan Medical Center. He is a pandemic expert. He is just a wonderful clinician. Someone asked me the other day, why would you need to bring a doctor on? And my answer was quite simple. I'm an attorney. I have an MBA, so I understand the law. I understand business. I'm not medically trained. Dr. Rick is the right guy. He's going to work 10 hours a week. It's a consultant agreement, and I really welcome his support. He's already hit the ground running day one, getting on conference calls, explaining stuff to me and to my team. You know, we're not through this yet. We're in the thick of this, but the sad thing is there's going to be a second surge, and that's a fact. So with Dr. Rick's guidance, you know, we're going to hopefully be able to minimize and mitigate the spread of this virus. The other piece of information, of course, our former elected colleague on the city council, John Mcgarry. John was a ward councilor and he filled in for 6 months as a duly elected councilor at large. Also retired department head. He headed up the elections. We all know him as just a great individual. So, as you know, John's a 40-year registered nurse in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and John stepped up when I asked him. And I'll be honest with you, we spoke about it over coffee at Dunkin' Donuts up in Ward 3 on West Chestnut Street. The councilor and I know that place very well. And at that time, we didn't know the magnitude of this. And John said, "Sure, I'll help you, Mayor. Absolutely, anything I can do." And you know, we had conversations at 11 o'clock at night. 5 in the morning, and it just became overwhelming. And John stepped away last Friday. I gave him a citation on behalf of the city, thanking him. And I was a little concerned because, you know, John was just doing such a great job. What was going to happen? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Linda Cahill stepped in, and she is the interim right now health officer. And if you don't know Linda Cahill, let me just tell you a quick background. She was born in Brockton. She has a doctorate in nursing. She has a master's in nursing. She's been a registered nurse in the Commonwealth for 36 years. For 18 years, she's worked for Brockton Public Schools. And for the last 8 years, she's been the director of nursing for the Brockton Public Schools. So about 7 weeks ago, I asked Superintendent of Schools, Mike Thomas, Mike, do you have any nurses you can have help us out at the Board of Health? We're doing contact tracing, and we only have Evelyn LeBron. Evelyn's the only health nurse for the city of Brockton. And Mike didn't hesitate. He said, absolutely. Linda Cahill and 7 other nurses will be over there, and they have been over there. So Linda was able to get her feet wet at the Board of Health. And on Monday, she, again, I'll use the proverbial hit the ground running. She absolutely did. So we're well served right now. And I want to thank the 3 Board of Health members, which is George Fisk, Dr. Craig Andrade, and Dr. Mary Brophy for supporting this initiative. But it's going to give us some time now until Linda has to go back to schools whenever they open, whenever that is. So We're working diligently. It's a collaborative effort, and I'm really happy that Dr. Rick and Linda are helping me out. And with that being said, I mean, the way that we've been doing these the last few weeks is I just want to hear from the counselors. Again, Ward 3 and Ward 4 is represented extremely well by some dedicated long-term elected officials, but with long roots in Brockton. And, Dennis, you're the dean, but my mother always told me that we go ladies before gentlemen. So I'm going to go right to Attorney Nicastro, the Ward 4 counselor. Susan, good evening. Thank you so much for your service to the city, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. It's been a very strange time. Some days I feel like I'm on an island. Other days I feel like I'm behind the bullseye. And so, constituent calls ebb and flow. Some issues related to COVID. For the most part, it's a lot of the usual stuff. I notice a crankiness or an impatience to people, and gosh, as I can't blame them, I feel the same way. Being cooped up at home and limitations and not being able to work, and so many of my residents are concerned about money.
Yeah.
So, but I think Ward 4 is holding its own. Many of our businesses are shuttered, most notably small businesses, hair salons, nail shops, things like that. Our food manufacturing is open at Cindy's Kitchen. Many auto repair shops are open, that being termed an essential business. Beautiful Brockton Country Club opened this past weekend, and as I drove by today, the parking lot is full, and there are many happy golfers, mostly men, on the green. Food retail sales are open, including we have 2 supermarkets. We have Vincente's and we have Bravo Market, plus a lot of little markets. UPS is working on Oak Hill Way. I've got a new business on Oak Hill Way that is accessed from Brockton, but yet is permitted in West Bridgewater. EOMS, a local recycler, Brockton owned, is running a composting division there, and they're just getting it up and running. And some of my Brockton neighborhoods have had some challenges with the scent of the decomposing compost, but EOMS is working very hard to figure it out and to minimize it. And I'm hoping that we can all be good neighbors to each other, because that's a very good business to have on wooded land. I've got restaurant takeout, delicious food, including Flames, a Jamaican barbecue place, Gino's, which is Caribbean, Signature Kitchen is Haitian, delicious food is Haitian. I've got the chicken place across from the car wash. We also have in Campello, technically they're in Ward 3, but I couldn't mention restaurants without mentioning Italian Kitchen and Cape Cod Cafe. And also Italian Kitchen has retail opportunities. That's where I usually get my roasts on holidays. At least 3 senior living places, Connemara Senior Living, St. Joseph's Manor Nursing Home, and Brockton Housing's Campello High Rise. And I keep tabs with all of them. They're doing all right. It's been challenging, but they're doing all right. St. Joseph's Manor was on the news last night at 11 with a wonderful story of senior residents who have been recovering from COVID, which is wonderful and a good sign. So all is well. We're doing well in Ward 4, I'd say. Thank you.
That's a great summary. And again, I have 4 standing calls a week with regional mayors. It's led by Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, and we do them Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 o'clock, and then Sunday nights 8 to 10. And the last 2 Sunday nights, Governor Baker has come on and joined us. And last night it was Senate President Karen Spilker, and tomorrow night will be the House Speaker, Robert DeLeo. And so May 18th is coming up, and a lot of people in the city of Brockton have been asking me and emailing and texting saying, Mayor, on May 18th, is Brockton going to open up? And my answer, quite honestly, is no. It's not date specific, it's data specific. We have to see the medical data decrease, the loss of life decrease, see a plateau. That's why Dr. Herman's so important. I do know what Governor Baker has said to the mayors, and he has expressed it during a recent press conference. Again, he's projecting 4 different phases. He also is going to get an advisory report on the 18th. So you're right about Brockton Country Club. I know Thorny Lee up in Ward 1, and Of course, our municipal golf course, DW, opened a week ago on Sunday. It's all virtual. You have to get your tee times online. You have to pay online. You cannot rent a cart. You cannot rent golf clubs. Can't go into the pro shop. It's just walking, social distancing, getting some exercise. But I'm really, really happy of seeing most Brocktonians adhere to, of course, the social physical distancing of 6 feet or more. And I'll just tell the viewers, we lost a great public servant. Mayor Cal Pitaro passed away. And yesterday, I want to thank Russell Peaker, David Russell, and George Peaker. They drove the mayor past City Hall on the School Street side. And Councilor Dean Ianeri was there, and Councilor Castro was there. And, we were all doing what the governor said. We had our masks on. We did social distancing. So again, we just have to keep reiterating to Brocktonians, we're all in this together, but without adhering to the guidelines of the health professionals, unfortunately, this nasty virus will continue. So again, thank you for what you're doing, Counselor. I really appreciate your friendship and all your efforts and your leadership in Ward 4. And now the Dean, Councilor Ianeri, not just a ward councilor, but a former school committee member as well, is what they tell me.
Yeah, that's what they tell me as well, too. But good evening, and good evening to both of you and to everybody that's going to see this at some spot as well. But I do want to take time to again thank you for allowing me to come on. I'm not going to spend as much time. I know the councilor from Ward 4 mentioned, and I give all kudos to all the businesses in the city that are able to be open, that are taking care of our people here in the city of Brockton, and I think they're doing a fine job with it. My takeout has been a little bit limited. I'm trying to cook again, trying to anyways, but when I don't cook Italian, everybody knows where I go. So it is in Ward 3, and you cannot miss that opportunity. But in any case, and I think it was great yesterday too, Mayor, and you was the mayor there, and and even Councilor Castro and the council president was there, and also former Mayor Fowler was there as well. And we were everyone that was there, from City Hall employees as well, even our police department, our chief, fire chief. I mean, everybody that was there was doing what we should be doing. We were distance away, and we all had our mask on, because why? I think it's going to be the new norm for a while, and we need to adjust to that. And we need to start to do it. I mean, it's something that's going to be. I just do want to take this time to commend everybody that has been involved in these past few weeks. It's my first time on screen, as you know. I had difficulties with the Wi-Fi here at home, and I was doing it by telephone. But just to let people know, I am here, and knock on wood, thank God, I'm healthy like the rest of us are. We take one day at a time. We just keep going. But I do want to thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only 30 days, maybe 40 days into being a mayor, and look what transpired. Whoever thought, really, you never thought that it would be something like this. Even in my lifetime, I never thought of something like this. But you came right up to the start. Your staff, you knew what people to pull in to help you, which I think was in the great interest of what you've done and what you've accomplished. To our public safety people, our fire department, police department, our chiefs, all the men and women that serve in public safety and what they've been doing, just watching them. And as you know, who's the first people that arrive at a scene is the fire department usually. And I've talked to some of them and what they've done just to calm people down, because they thought they had the sickness, they were going to die, something was going to go wrong, but they were able to calm people down and keep them away from maybe going to the hospital right away and going to your doctor, which was the right thing to do. You credit those people for doing that. So the medical field people, you can't say enough about. You can't say enough about the medical people, doctors, the nurses, aides, everybody working in every hospital, every nursing home, everybody that's doing something like you just say, you and I are not experienced to do, and they're doing it and they're getting it done. I do have a little bit, sometime I have the sympathy for, and we don't mention enough all of them, but our undertakers, as they were called, our funeral directors, that have to tell the people, you cannot have no more than 10 people as we do a send off for your family member. And they have to, explain that to the people why and how they have to do it. And they've been really, really very, very busy. You know that. A day doesn't go by when you see a procession going by for somebody. So, I mean, I feel the same sympathy that you have, Mr. Mayor, and as we all have. It's been a little different. It really has. The first week or two, I told some people it felt like a blizzard without the snow. You could deal with it a little bit, but then as time went on, the snow melted and we're still doing the same things. But in a way, we're watching out for people. And I think that's what's most interesting as well, is working together. And my calls from constituents have been very far and few. A couple people call me about, wanting to know whether they could get a mask, or somebody could help them do something. And I've even had some constituents that have called me and said, and I appreciate it. I know you're alone there, Council. Anything you need, let us know. We're around the corner, which was very appreciative, to be truthful with you. I mean, it gave you that insight that, gee, somebody is watching, and I think we've been doing that. And I think that's been a real great plus for everybody. And I mean, as far as the people in Ward 3, like I say, things have been very fine. We only had that one difficulty at the beginning, as you know, when everything was happening, when we had, somebody that was running around the ward and doing what shouldn't be done. But people were out there and working to capture that situation. But at the same time, we were having a council meeting, and thank God Chief Gomes was trying to get through my phone, and I'm trying to be on the phone at a meeting, but he kept me in tune to what was happening. Unfortunately, we had an accident that occurred at the same time, and then we did find the person that was responsible, which, thank God we did do. But still, somebody got injured at the same time, and that sort of left some people a little shaky on the Ash Street area. But things have been great since then. So, with that being said, I think we're just waiting now to what the governor's what's the next step? Is he going to take us, and how we're going to take it? And I think we're going to have to, like I say, it's going to be a new norm of how we live and how we proceed. Even holding meetings could be altogether different for some time. Now, I mean, this meeting, a planning board meeting, a zoning board meeting, anything could be. Those are the things, you as mayor and we as council have to make decisions about, or which way we're going. Just two other things. I commend you with Dr. Herman. I've heard about him and known about him over the years. I think that's a great appointment for having a consultant, and being able to have somebody like him that's been around for so many years to understand this whole process. And I also I know somewhat about Linda Cahill from the years when being in the school department, school committee, and I think that was a very good choice too. And just lastly, I do want to thank John Mcgarry for stepping up to the plate. I think it was a right thing to do then, and God be with him too, with his situation as well. And I thank him because he took on an awful lot, and us not knowing what his situation was as well. So, with that being, like I say, I'm pleased with what we're doing, and we just got to keep, like you say, we're going to do it together.
Yeah, and that was great. Thank you, Council, for your efforts and everything that you just expressed. Because you're right. I mean, I'll give you an example. I've had 2 or 3 calls with all the funeral directors, all the funeral homes in Brockton, working with Tim Carpenter, who, when Tim was hired for the city, it was to work for the parks. He didn't know he was going to be dealing with cemeteries as well. And it's right now, it's a difficult job, but we're working with all the funeral directors to make sure that it's a smooth process. Chief Gomes from Brockton PD, Chief Williams from Fire are working diligently. DPW Commissioner, everyone's all on board trying to get the message out. I do want to thank Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for working with Brockton. Of course, at Brockton High School, right, 470 Forest Ave, we have the collaborative testing there, which is Brockton Neighborhood Health Center with Signature Brockton Hospital, and it started a week ago. They're doing about 180 to 200 tests per day, thanks to Quest, which has given us more testing in Brockton. It's really been a game changer, and I'm thankful for that. And also Partners in Health, which is a state agency organization helping Brockton with the contact tracing services. And as I said last week when I was with Councilor Cruz and Councilor Monahan, if anybody gets a caller ID and it says MA for Mass COVID team, MA COVID team, please answer. That is not a prank call. That is a state official working with the city of Brockton to try to do the tracing. Again, informing people that may have been exposed within the last 48 hours, informing them so they can quarantine, they can then self-monitor, self-assess symptoms. And again, as Dr. Ricketts said to me yesterday, it's about testing. It's also about getting information out. So Last week, I spent 2 different days, an hour and a half each day. One was called the Cape Verdean Town Hall. One was called the Haitian Town Hall. And it was, again, it was just an open forum to express with Partners in Health and with Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, just to inform the general public. We have a beautiful, diverse community. That's what makes Brockton so special. And Brockton, that's what makes Brockton Brockton. So to keep getting out all the information, I want to thank Superintendent of Schools, Mike Thomas, because Mike helped me last week give out 5,000 brochures. They were in English, Spanish, Haitian Creole, and Cape Verdean Creole. And they were given out at the 10 different lunch sites around the city where we do the free lunch and breakfast. 2,500 given out one day, 2,500 given out the next day. We're doing another 5,000 this week. So again, it's all about just information. And Dennis served many years on the school committee, and as mayor, I chair it. And we had a subcommittee meeting just last night. And I'll tell you, the most difficult thing on that right now is the disappointment that the seniors, the young boys and girls, are going through by not having the normal things that we had, a normal prom, a normal graduation. So today, the superintendent, when I called him, he was actually driving around the city, putting up signs at houses of seniors, not just Brockton High School, anybody that's graduating from Brockton. We support them, we love them, we respect them. We're going to show our wonderful support, but there's going to be a virtual graduation. So as the counselors have said, it's a new norm. It's really a different time. Even City Hall, when we get back to whatever we get back to, it's going to be different to even enter the building. It's going to be one way in, a different way out, just being safe, wearing masks and washing hands. And so again, I just want to thank Dennis and Susan for their leadership on the council, for their friendship. We have, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we're going to have some difficult financial times ahead. The budget is going to not be an enjoyable experience. We're going to have some cuts that are going to be drastic and long lasting. But, with the experiences that we all have, and there's 11 city councilors, there's 7 school committee members, there's 1 mayor, and every 2 years we get elected. So we'll continue our efforts working together. And the last thing, and I saw Susan on cable the other night, and she expressed it, and I just want to reiterate it. And I know Dennis and Susan share this, the federal census, federal census.
Yes.
48% right now of Brockton has responded. That is not good. 48%, less than half. We need to do better. If we don't, for the next 10 years, we'll be penalized. And if we get it right, we'll get federal funding, which we need, which is going to help our schools. It's going to help our city. It's going to help our community. It's going to help our roads. So again, you can do it online. You can do it by phone. You can mail it in the old-fashioned way. Secretary of State of Massachusetts, Bill Gavin, just called me on Monday. We have a $50,000 grant. I want to thank State Rep Claire Cronin for helping to facilitate that. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, I have a call with Jerry Cassidy, Michelle Dubois, Claire Cronin, the 3 reps, Mike Brady, the state senator. And, we've been doing it for weeks now. We're going to continue it. It's just about sharing really best practices. So I don't know if Councilor Nicastro has a follow-up, or if Councilor Yanieri has anything else.
Yes, what I would like to say, Dennis, excuse me, I just jumped in. What I'd like to say is I'd like to implore residents to practice social distancing, to wear a mask. Word for residents, if you need a mask, call me and I'll find some for you. And also patronize local businesses. Our local businesses are hurting under these circumstances. Please do everything you can to patronize, buy local, please. That's it. Thank you.
The only thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is a quick follow-up. And, as we always say, and everyone kids me, I spent so many years on the school committee, and believe me, there are educational years of wealth, to be truthful with you, even for myself. It bothers me to see what we have to go through right now with our schools, our children. I'm very, very concerned. And I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews. And I get very concerned with those that are, in the first grade, kindergarten, first grade, second, third grade. Their little minds they're not working as the others are when you get to be in the 5th and 6th and 7th grade, and that bothers me immensely to see that they can be hurt by this, and it could set us back a little bit education, and that bothers me, as well as the fact that monies we had coming to this city through the state. Been there, done that. I know what it's about, and it's going to definitely put a different spin to what we do when schools open up again. And there may be and I don't know this, I'm just putting it out as my own thought, but there could be the thought, does North Junior High School now close, or do we keep that as an overflow school? Does the Huntington School somehow come back online as well? These are things you got to look at, You're going to have 38 in a classroom. That's going to be the big answer. Teachers don't like 38. They'd rather have 25 or 26, maybe down to 15 now. What do we do? That's going to be the big thing we're going to have to wrestle with.
Yes.
And that concerns me, really, really does. So, but other than that, I mean, again, I appreciate being able to come on and join Councilman Castro. We both share, that line there, Ward 3 and Ward 4. But at this point, I think we're all trying to work together as a group, and not who's sharing what. We got to work together as the team, because it is going to be difficult. And I don't like to keep throwing it out, but I've been there and seen it, and it's not easy. It's not pretty. It doesn't get to be pretty. It gets to be very annoying decisions you have to make, but you have to make them. But let's deal with it when it happens.
Yeah, no, and you hit it on the head, Counselor, because I mean, I'm a dad of a 7th grader, a 5th grader, and a 2nd grader, and I do want to applaud the teachers. Brockton Public Schools, 2 of my children go to Brockton Public Schools, 1 goes to parochial Catholic school, but the teachers have been working. It's a new normal with this virtual. It's really difficult to teach that way, but they're doing it. I want to applaud the youngsters, the boys and girls, the students that are really delving into it. It's a new normal, but it is excelling. And you're right, Counselor, we thought we were ahead of the game finally after so many years with the Webby case and the McDuffie case and the Hancock case. And finally, Brockton was getting the Student Opportunity Act, and the school committee voted to hire 93 new teachers and paraprofessionals. It hadn't happened in a decade. And then the bottom fell out, and now that's all put on hold. And we really have to delve into it. I had a call today with the CFO, Troy Clarkson, and Aldo Petronio from the school side, and Mike Thomas. We have another one tomorrow. And Jay Conan, the retired CFO, is still a consultant to the city. He's been helping us. So we got to figure this out, and we will. We'll do cost containment measures, and we'll roll up the sleeves, and we'll get it done. But it's just unfortunate. But you know what? We're called the City of Champions for a reason, and we're all champions right now. We'll get through this. And another piece of information I want to share before we conclude tonight is that there's a lot of local agencies. The Charity Guild and Catholic Charities are working every day, giving out food and Meals on Wheels. And Janice Fitzgerald at the Council on Aging is doing that as well. And then BIC, Brockton Interfaith, and NAACP, Brockton Chapters, is helping by giving out gift cards and financial means. And today I announced a city collaboration, I'm proud to say, with the United Way, both United Way Plymouth County and United Way Mass Bay, it's called the Brockton Together Fund. The Brockton Together Fund is going to be a mechanism, a catalyst for donations that will be monitored by United Way. We're going to disperse them properly. We're going to have an advisory board set up, and that way, social agencies and nonprofits will get some money, and then they can utilize it to help Brockton residents and businesses. So it's really a good thing. It's taken weeks to get it up and going and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but there's been such a great support from the business community to my office, and pastors and clergy calling me and working together. So again, I just want to thank Councilor Yaneri and Councilor Castro for their elected service, public service to the city of Brockton, and their dedication to the community that we all call home. And again, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your friendship. I ask you to still be diligent, spread the word, be safe, and we'll be back soon.
I have one more thing before we sign off.
Council, of course.
If anyone needs me, Ward 4, 508-941-0108, call me.
I'll call you tomorrow. Again, it was my pleasure. This is Mayor Robert Sullivan. My pleasure to have Councilor Susan Nicastro, Councilor Dennis Ianeri this week. Next week, I'll be joined by Superintendent of Schools, Mike Thomas. Again, thank you for watching. Be safe and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.